started. I am recording the session now. So welcome everybody to our webinar tonight. We are in Module 4 and this week is midterm week. So the midterm will be due Sunday night by 11:59 p.m. I cannot accept late submissions for any reason, so if you know you're possibly going to be busy this weekend or what have you, I would suggest that you plan to do it prior to that, okay? You definitely need to go through the Module 4 study guide and make sure that you know how to calculate everything that I talk about that's going to be on the midterm, okay? So you'll want to review your homework problems, and I suggest taking and looking at your homework problems answer keys, okay? So review those and make sure that you know how to calculate those problems. Okay, both tests being due on Tuesday. Kim says the syllabus shows both tests being due next Tuesday on September 27th. I'm going to have to look at that, Kim. Technically, the midterms are always due on the Sunday, just like the quizzes are, which
I don't have an issue with it.
Okay.
It's just that's what your syllabus says, so everybody sees the 27th that they're due.
Right. Well, I will put out an announcement about that, and so I can go in and change it to be due the 27th if people have scheduling conflicts with it. So that's not an issue.
I'm good either way.
So, yeah. Okay, so let's continue to talk about the midterm. One thing to note is that it is 26 multiple choice and fill in the blank questions, okay? It is not timed, but you do have to do it in one sitting, okay? I know this says that you have 80 minutes to complete it. That was in a prior session. I took the 80 minutes off of it so that it's no longer required to be completed in 80 minutes, okay? You do have to complete it in one session, though. You cannot go in, back out, and then go back in again. And if you try to walk away for too long, your session will get timed out, okay? So just make sure that when you're ready to go in and do it, you're ready to go in and do it. You sit down and you complete it, okay? Another thing to note is that because this is a graded exam by the computer, there's no partial credit given on any questions. Now, with that said, there might be an opportunity after the fact for you to earn some extra points, okay? So don't count on it, but, let's do our best and everything, but there is no partial credit on this because the computer either counts it right or it counts it wrong, okay? Also, when you're answering these questions, it is imperative that you pay attention to this, okay? Do not use dollar signs or decimals, okay? Do not. You don't need to put, $2.50. It's all going to be rounded to the dollar, okay? So, and you do have to use commas to separate numbers like $25,000 or 25,000, okay? So do not forget to put that comma in. If you forget to put the comma in, it will count your answer as wrong, okay? So it is very important that you format your numbers exactly as stated in this line right here. If you don't, it'll count your answer wrong. Okay? And this will be put not only in this review, it'll be put in an announcement. So I feel like, you know, given all of the places this is documented, if you fail to follow the instructions, then I'm unfortunately not going to be able to award any credit for failure to follow those instructions. I think they're pretty clear. So just I can't emphasize enough. Make sure you are formatting like this on numbers that, oops, on numbers that require a comma. And do not use dollars or decimals. Does everybody understand that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Sorry, I don't mean to be so harsh about it, but I promise you there will be people that will not format the numbers right and will get the answer wrong. So, and then I'll have to refer them to this line. So, each question is either worth 10 points or 20 points, and there's a total of 350 points. Again, they're all or nothing questions. Either you get them right or wrong. So just because they're multiple choice doesn't mean that's going to be easier. I will tell you there are some of them that, the numbers are pretty close. So you really have to be careful, and it's very easy to come up with the wrong answer by forgetting to include something that should be in the equation. Okay, so just please make sure that you're paying attention and you're really working through the problems and checking your work. Okay. Um, you will need to be able to calculate any item that's on the income statement or balance sheet when given other parts of the financial statement. So there are a lot of questions related to this. Okay. So, stuff like find stockholders' equity, and it gives you, you know, assets and liabilities, right? So how would you find stockholders' equity in that case? Stuff like that. That's what I mean when I talk about that. It can be asked many ways. Um, it can be asked, like this, assets and owners' equity, and ask you to find liabilities. Okay. It can give you a bunch of balance sheet accounts and ask you to calculate total assets with not all of the accounts being assets. So it can throw liability accounts in there and expect you to understand that you need to take those liability accounts out of that calculation and only add the asset accounts. Okay, so it's important that you really understand where everything belongs on the financial statements, what is calculated to get those totals. So I would suggest you have examples of that and make sure that you're really, really, really familiar with them. Okay, again, this midterm is open book, open notes. You can use your homework, just whatever you have available to you. So I don't mind if you use those resources. It's completely up to you. Okay, so go ahead and start prepping yourself and prepping your notes and things of that nature, and you should do very well on this. Okay, um, so just be prepared. You not only have to know how to calculate them, but what makes up those accounts on the financial statements. So here are some of the things that you will have to calculate: net income, owner's equity, total liabilities, total assets, operating expenses, sales returns and allowances, gross profit, income for operations, sales revenue, cost of goods sold, which is what COGS is, income from operations is on there twice because there's a couple problems about it. Okay, so I actually went into the exam and found those problems, and this is what is on it. Okay, So know how to calculate those things. That's why I said it's imperative that you use the study guide to really help you prep for the exam. Okay? Um, Anybody have any questions on that? So, okay. Multiple choice questions. I'll ask you to choose how a GL account is affected given a transaction. So, for example, if something is purchased on account, what happens to AP? Does it increase, decrease, or is it unaffected? So there's a bunch of those questions on there. It'll give you a scenario and say, if this is done, what happens to this account, right? There could be some tricks in here, like it could ask you what happens to cash when something is purchased on account. In this case, that's going to be unaffected, right? Because if you purchase something on account, are you hitting your cash? Anyone?
No.
No. Okay. If it's purchased on account, you're not hitting cash. You're only hitting AP and supplies or whatever it is you're purchasing. Okay? The only time you're hitting cash is when you're paying that bill. Okay? And then your transaction is from AP to cash. Right? You guys understand? You guys are a quiet bunch tonight.
I have to keep mine quiet or you're just going to hear a lot of noise in the background.
Okay. No worries. No worries. Okay. Uh, So it also goes further down the line to ask what will happen to owner's equity if a salary is paid. So you have to be able to carry these all the way down the line of the financial statements. So in other words, if a salary is paid, owner's equity is going to what? And you just have to think about that. If you pay somebody out, if you pay a salary out, well, that's going to affect your cash. So your cash is going to decrease, right? If your cash decreases, your owner's equity is also going to decrease, right? So do you see how you kind of have to think about that and go down the line with it? So I wanted to give you those examples so that you would be prepared and understand what was coming up, what was going to be on that exam. Okay. Um, those type of questions, those multiple choice questions, are not difficult, but at the same time, they are tricky. I mean, it causes you to stop and think, right? So that's pretty much the midterm. What questions do you all have? Anybody have any questions?
I only had a question on one of the sample problems that we worked, the practice problems.
For Module 4?
Yes.
Okay, let me go to them. I'm gonna have to, okay.
E63A.
Okay. All right, so costing methods, the perpetual, right? What's your question?
Hold on one second. I'm going back through my email I'd sent you.
Oh, gotcha.
So it's the weighted average cost method.
Mm-hmm.
You're showing 80 units were sold. I only came up with 60, so I'm not getting the same figures you're getting.
Okay, let's go. And I apologize, guys. Sometimes these answer keys that are loaded in here are not 100% correct. So, yeah, it's the wrong link. Okay, that was chapter 6, right? So,
Yes. 6 3A.
3A. Okay. Okay. So you have to use that Appendix 6A. Assume the is used to calculate cost of goods for July 15th using. Okay. Find the appendix. Appendix 3A, where did it say this appendix was? 6A.
It's using the numbers from right above it in E62A.
From right above it where? Oh, here? Oh, gotcha. Gotcha.
So they only sold 60, but your problem shows 80.
So that's because they had at the beginning, so the weighted method is using the beginning inventory plus the inventory that they purchased.
Right, but they only sold 60 units.
hmm
You're saying they sold 80 units.
These are the units available. So the weighted average uses the units available. It doesn't use what they sold. It uses
Oh,
what's
I did it
available.
backwards.
Yeah.
Got it. That's where I went wrong then. Okay.
It's fine.
That's why I was asking.
Yeah. No worries. No worries at all. All right. Any other questions? Nobody's chatting. Okay. All right. So I will be getting back your grades hopefully for homework in the next couple of days. I have to apologize. I was out on site at a client an entire week last week. Got home Saturday at 2 a.m. and had full intentions of grading Saturday night, but got a phone call at dinner Saturday and found out that my mother-in-law's husband had been found dead. So we are actually in Mississippi trying to take care of funeral and everything else and take care of her. She's not dealing with it very well. So I will do my best to get those grades to you over the next few days. But unfortunately, things just kind of took quite a turn on me that was unexpected and unforeseen. So, at any rate, please let me know if you have questions or if you're having problems. If you have any problems that you want to email me or anything like that, or if we need to get on a call or something, I'm pretty booked up during the day, but I could try to get on a call with you, say Friday evening or Saturday all day and evening. I will be back home at that time. Or even Thursday afternoon, I'll be on the road and I can try to answer things on the road if you need me to. So, okay?
Well, thank you for tonight.
Oh, no problem. Like I said, I apologize. I couldn't make it last week. I literally had meetings from about 7 a.m. every morning and dinner meeting all the way through dinner meetings every single day that I was in California. So, um, you know, I apologize. I just couldn't do it last week. So again, don't hesitate to reach out. Happy to have you reach out if you have a question. Shoot me a text, and I will try to get to it as quickly as possible. Um, does that sound okay?
Yep.
All right, great. Well, you guys have a great week and good luck on the midterm. Don't stress about it. Just make sure you're preparing yourself using that study guide. Make sure you format your numbers correctly and make sure that you take a look at all of your homework answer keys and understand the correct way to do the problems prior to starting that exam, and you should be fine. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. Have a good evening, everyone. We'll talk to you next week, if not before.
You too. Bye.
All right, thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.